very flattered when radio stated that they had named themselves after a song that I'd written. But I had to ask myself, why that song? It really, I still haven't been able to figure it out. In a certain way, I don't want to know. This was a kind of goofy Tex-Mex song that I'd written. Maybe we'll find out, who knows. Thankfully, I'm a huge fan of the group. They richly deserve this honor for two reasons. Their music, the quality and constant innovation in the music, but equally for the innovations in how they release their work and how they market it and get it to the public. Things that have changed the entire music business, and there's quite a few people in the music business in this room tonight. They're creative and smart in both areas, which is a kind of rare combination for artists. Not just then or now, but anytime. Okay, here's a tidbit. Radio 1, that's in the UK, refused to play their song Creep because they found it too depressing. Then it started getting played in lots of other places all around the world, and eventually, of course, the rest is, well, we know. Okay, here's another tidbit. Sorry about this if there's anyone directly affected by this one. Capitol Records felt that what might be considered, what many consider to be their masterpiece, OK Computer, was, to Capitol's ears, career suicide. And they adjusted their marketing and release plan accordingly. The record went to #1 in the UK, and Paranoid Android, the song from that record, was by some considered the new Bohemian Rhapsody. Whatever that means. I'm looking forward to the movie. Looking forward to finding out who's going to play Tom. The blonde Tom or the present day Tom, but we'll find out. For me, the record that really kind of was my conversion moment was Kid A, the record that came after that. Don't applaud to me, I didn't do it. It's not my fault. This record joined together a lot electronics and song forms in ways that I had certainly never heard before. I'd never heard anything like it. I thought it was great. I could hear influences from Can, from Miles Davis in kind of his electric period, but this was something altogether different. What was really weird and very encouraging was that it was popular. It was a hit, and which to me proved that the artistic risk paid off. And it proved that music fans, sometimes, are not stupid. Some of that can be attested to by some of the music in this room tonight. But it went to this record, as risky and as quasi-experimental as it was, went to #1 in the US. Business-wise, they were already innovating. That record was released as an app. This was in the year 2000. You could stream the record through the app and access things, but okay. Now, with a few records later, with In Rainbows, they made a big, the music that at one point sounded radical and kind of on the edge, now to us as fans and listeners felt completely natural. But at that point, they took the radical leap of selling the record for the price of pay what you wish. Which, yes, the public, we could either pay 0 or maybe 1 cent, or you could pay the price that the records were going for that year. It turned out that most people did pay the going rate. Some people actually paid more than the going rate of what an album cost. Which was, I thought this was an incredible thing. They showed trust in the audience, trust in the public, they trusted them to place value on their music and say, you tell us what you think it's worth. And the audience responded and said, we think it's worth something. In this age, when there's so little trust in the world, this was a kind of wonderful social experiment, not just an experiment in the music business. It has kind of a wider thing. I thought it was very hopeful. Okay, further release innovations. They released the James Bond theme Spectre, which was never used on SoundCloud. And musically, they kept changing. Their last record, Moon-Shaped Pool, to me sounded very cinematic. It sounded like a movie in your head, in my head anyway. They changed our idea of what popular music can be, and how it can be released, and how it can be marketed to us. For those things, I would like to be honored to induct Radiohead into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
First off, I think I'd just like to set the record straight. In the film, Tom said Phil was the only drummer. I think what he meant actually was Phil was the only drummer. So thank you. This is a real honour, and it's particularly special that David Byrne has inducted us. As David said, we borrowed our band name from him 30 years ago, and luckily for us, he hasn't asked for it back yet. Now, I'd just like to say a little bit about what being in Radiohead means to me. It can be an awkward and challenging band to be in sometimes, but I guess that's what's kept us all interested for these past 3 decades. But I'm beyond proud of what the 5 of us in Radiohead have achieved together. And I know that Radiohead wouldn't have become what it is without the 5 of us. Oh, this is great. I pause and people clap. This is fantastic. Now, I can easily place myself back in my first rehearsal with the band at the school that we all went to. And that band is still very recognisable to me whenever we play. We've learned all our musical chops together. Each new song has been like a lesson, and our albums act as a chart of that learning process. We may not be the greatest musicians around, and we're certainly not the most media-friendly of bands. But we have become very adept at being Radiohead. And when that connects with people, it feels amazing. I never take any of this for granted, so thank you so much.
say this is such a beautifully surreal evening for us, and it's a very far cry from where we come from, but thank you for inviting us, for inducting us into this Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It is a big fucking deal, and it feels like it. I wish the others could be here because they would be feeling it, so thank you. Obviously, a band like ourselves have a lot of thank yous to make, and I don't want to spend the next 10 minutes name-checking everybody, although I'd love to, but you'll all be bored. But I want to thank our families who encourage us to go on these musical adventures. Our kids, our wives, our partners, they let us go off and swan around the world doing our thing. I want to thank everybody who's ever been moved or touched by our music, for all those who come to the everyone who comes to the shows, they participate in any performer knows that it's not just us on stage, it's everybody. So we've had some amazing, glorious nights with you. I'd also like to thank everybody who's worked with us. We are a very, very blessed band. We've worked with some incredibly talented, inspiring people who not only do the best for our music, but they also do the best for us as human beings, and that's a really important part of being in Radiohead. But my biggest thank you is for my brothers, Philip, Tom, Colin and Johnny. It has really, I mean, like all the musicians here and people in bands know, it's an incredible journey. It is truly extraordinary. We're not doing run-of-the-mill stuff. It has been an amazing, we've been doing this for 34 years and still doing it. I want to thank them for their integrity, for their authenticity, for their commitment. None of these things you should take for granted. I also want to thank them for the musicians that they are. That thing that when we play together, that collective sound that we make, some of those nights that we have when, or it can be in the rehearsal studio, when they're like transcendental moments, and all musicians here will know those moments as well. I thank them for that. But most of all, I want to thank them for this deep, deep friendship. I mean, we could have done this without this love for one another, but there's such a deep, deep bond, and it's a beautiful thing. So thank you, I love you.